So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Google landing page workshop. I'm Jenny Glessman, and on behalf of the IBDS, the Indigenous Business Development Services, and the Sage Hill Community Futures Office, we'd like to welcome everybody here today. I'm just going to start. As we gather here today, we acknowledge we are on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis. We pay our respects to the First Nation and Métis ancestors of this place, and we reaffirm our relationship with one another. With that, I'd just like to welcome everyone. And what we'll maybe do, if everybody can, if they would unmute, tell us a little bit about who you are and what your business is. And that way it'll give DJ a little bit of an idea of what our businesses are. So as I said, I'm Jenny Glessman and I'm with the Sage Hill Community Futures Office. So maybe we'll start with the first one on my screen is Cindy. Which is actually Terry, right?
Oh, I guess it is. Hi.
Hey. That's all right.
I need to switch that clearly, hey?
Okay.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Terry Rome here. I'm from New Sask Community Futures Office. And I just wanted to glean information today through this BizMaker series, actually on the Google landing page. So I thought I'd join in.
That's awesome. We're glad you're here. The next one on my screen is Joan. There she is. Are you there, Joan?
Hi, I'm here. I'm Joan Steckham, and owner-operator of the Prairie Lily Riverboat in Saskatoon.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. And then my other one, is it Audrey?
It's Audra.
Audra, sorry.
That's okay.
Because I've got you actually on my screen twice.
Well, see, I was trying to get it up on my computer, but it seems to want to download a new version of Zoom.
Okay.
So I just quickly put you up on my phone so I can join the meeting.
Okay, so there. Okay, so and what business are you with?
I'm looking at developing a business, which is a local and fresh grocery store.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you for joining us. With that, I'm going to turn it over to DJ. He's with Zap Communication out of Saskatoon, and he's going to lead us through all this wonderful, interesting stuff about Google.
That sounds great. Thanks so much for having me. Again, it's been such a great pleasure helping out your community with these different topics, and yeah. So sounds like we've got a couple diverse businesses where people are at, and I'm just going to get a little bit of presentation ready here. Okay. Can everybody see my other screen here?
I can.
Awesome, good stuff. Well, quick intro, as Jenny said, I'm DJ, the co-founder implementation specialist here at Zap. My title's just constantly changed. So I started off doing a lot of web design, web development, and now we've got kind of a team working with us, so they're taking care of a lot of that. So my role keeps just shifting, but that's one of the things that I'm doing a lot of now, which is great and lots of fun. So Zap Creative, who are we? We are mainly a branding agency here based out of Saskatoon, where we really focus on brand development, packaging design, website design, and some marketing as well. And here's kind of those core services that we have to offer. Like I said before, branding and identity. That just goes from your strategy all the way into the identity of that brand, and creation being very important for setting you apart in the market, and that real foundation for what you need as a business. And then that always translates into small to large websites, depending on what you need. If you're a consumer packaged goods kind of brand, we can do anything packaging design related, well versed in the world of compliance, more so in Canada, a little bit in the US, but we help out with that too. Search engine optimization. If you don't know what that is, that's mainly just saying, hey, Google, we're the one you're looking for. So just those kind of best practices for your websites, as well as any strategic design needed and marketing campaign materials. So today, yes, we are talking about Google. I'm going to go through a couple different things with Google. Main focus being kind of like your Google My Business page. If you don't have that set up already, kind of what can all be done with that, as well as another section called Google Sites, which lets you create your own website as well, more or less for free outside of purchasing your domain. So within Google products,
I'm just going to interrupt for a second. We're seeing your email on the screen. Is that what we're supposed to see?
Nope. I apologize.
That's okay. I just realized that.
Yeah. Hang on a sec here. Okay. Let's try that again. How about that?
There we go. Yeah, it says Google products. Is that what we're supposed to be? Okay.
That's what you're supposed to be seeing. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that, everybody.
Oh, that's okay. I should have said something sooner.
No, that's all good. You all you missed is kind of a picture of my face, so that's all good. This is the good one to be landing on here. So this is good. So Google products, you want to be asking yourself kind of these kind of questions when you're using them. This is, not just with Google itself, but kind of just walking through the different things they have to offer. You know, so on an advertising side, you know, do people actually know about you? You got that opportunity to reach out your market and your audience. That says brand message with any advertising efforts through Google. Listings and SEO. Are you found? You know, are you listed online? Is that information accurate? This is kind of what we'll talk about with Google My Business. And this Google My Business acts as a listing for that business. And those can be on other platforms across the web, you know, like Yellow Pages is an example. MySAS 411 would be another local one. So those are all resources that are just sending the same signal to Google and also kind of reinforces your search engine optimization and your presence online. Ratings, right? So we have different platforms that you can ask for reviews on, and one of the most prominent ones being Google, and we recommend sending people there the most, simply because when users are searching for a business like yourself, often they're going to find you first on Google. And when you have a My Business page, if you're a local business, those ratings show up right there within your actual listing. So what better place to be asking for reviews and building up your reputation? And so exactly that. What are they saying about you online that builds the trust? And then from a social side, do they like you? Another facet, obviously outside of Google, but a clear indication if you're listening to those customers' feedback and how they're communicating with you on social media. And then lastly, your website, is this functioning in a way that is beneficial for your business, that's actually motivating people to actually interact with you and book a call or whatever that kind of a call to action may be. So right off the hop, you know, it's really important to have positive reviews and has great visibility on Google so that they do continue to, you know, check out your website or your business over a competitor. And one thing I want to mention with that too is sometimes, you know, we get a little hesitant or disappointed, you know, if there was a negative review. And I mean, that's just the reality of business in general. It's not, you can't think it's always going to be perfect, you know, especially you look at restaurants. People are oftentimes a lot harder on restaurants. I'm not really sure why. I know that's a big thing with Yelp in the States. But in any case, if you ever do get a negative review, make sure that you address it within the platform as well. And bring the conversation away from, you know, the review platform. It's not the place to have a full-blown conversation about what might have went wrong. But when you are active in showing that you wanted to remedy that situation, that shows well on your business. You know, and sometimes users will actually even come back and edit their review to talk about how you remedied it. So again, it's one of those biggest, it's just really accountable thing for your business and a great way to showcase what you're doing. So Google My Business as a whole, what is it? If you didn't know, it's a free listing on Google that lets you provide details for your local customers and clients. And why is it important? Well, because of course Google likes promoting their own products. As the time has went on, they have created what they call this coveted 3-pack or local map pack. If you're ever doing a local search for a business, you'll often see in your search results, they'll put up a maps up top. Sometimes there's ads above here, and then there'll be that map pack here. So if you have a lot of competitors and you're getting, showcased up here, you've got also these calls to action, like boom, this person, I mean, we could just be scheduling this person right here. I can go straight to their website, or I can just get directions right to where they are, right? So this is a great tool for your business. And of course, Google likes seeing us use their stuff. So if you don't have it, this is how you would go and get it. You'd just be going to google.com/business, click this big blue button, Manage Now, and it's going to take you through this process of either finding your business if there was already a listing that was created. Perhaps if you purchased a business, sometimes this has already been created and you would just be needing to gain ownership of that listing. Otherwise, you'll just be creating one from scratch. Next, you just, of course, enter that official name of your business. And this is very straightforward. We're just going to kind of cruise through this part, but this is straightforward if you're going through it the first time as well. They make it very simple and easy for you. So once you've got that official business name editor, and you can edit all of this once you get into the platform as well. So don't think that any of this is set in stone. But you're going to pick a primary category for what's related to that business. They're always adding more and more of these in here. Yet to add branding agency, unfortunately. So we're stuck with calling ourselves either a design studio or a marketing agency or something along those lines. So hopefully someday, maybe I need to ping them and request that. But in general, you'll find kind of your most appropriate categories, and sometimes there's sections for subcategories as well. And if you're not sure, you can just go and check out your competitors, right? It'll be listed on there as right underneath their name, and that'll give you insights as to obviously what's working for them, and might spark an idea for yourself as well. Next, if you have an office or a store location, you're going to be clicking your yes or no, and if it's a no, you can be going towards more of a service area location. Either way, I'm pretty sure we'll be asking for your address anyways. Again, make sure this is of course is accurate, and it's going to go kind of the same idea for any other listings that you're building around the web. We really recommend, if you're going to be creating other listings like with Yellow Pages and all these other sites, just create a spreadsheet. And with a listing of all those, you're going to have to create logins for all these platforms as well. And then just keep a section of that information, your name, your address, your phone number, and then you're just copy and pasting that information into these listings, because then everything's consistent. If you leave out your ink in one listing and then you put it in another, it might seem like a silly little thing, but it just sends inconsistent messages for Google. Google wants to see the same content across all these different listings. That's just confirming that this is the business they're looking for, right? So the next option they're going to talk about, do you serve customers outside of the location? Are you delivery based? Anything like that? And you'll have the option to, if you didn't have an open storefront, you can just hide your location and say you're a service area based business. In which case you'll still show up in the maps, just not in a definitive location. If you are serving different areas, like I said, you'd be hitting that yes, and you can just be adding, a whole ton of different locations if that's if you're that specific where the places are that you serve. So next is that contact info as well. You're gonna have that option, of course, for your number, current website, and if you're getting a free website based on your info, I'm not sure where this takes you today. It might actually jump into the Google sites that we're going to talk to you about, but otherwise there's also a very small, almost landing page that can get automatically created for you within your Google My Business, and we'll go over that here in a second as well. But then once you've finished these details, you're going to just click finish, and then what's going to happen is you'll actually need to verify this listing. Simply just Google's way of saying, hey, I need to make sure this is a legitimate business, especially if you're at the address that you're saying you're at. In most cases, you won't be able to, unless you've got multiple businesses you already have verified, they might give you the option to verify via phone number. But in most cases, you'll have to get a postcard sent in the mail, and it says may take up to 12 days to arrive. So make sure you keep an eye out for it in the mail. I've heard of these getting lost in the mail in the past, and it can take some time to verify this listing. So your listing won't actually be live until you have verified it. So make sure you do keep an eye out for it. And you know what? I thought I had one with me. I was going to show you guys what the postcard actually looks like, but I mean, it's very simple. It's just got big, big numbers on it, and those would be the verification numbers you're going to punch in and just click verify. So, so you'd be, punching in that mail, and then you're still able to go in and you can edit your listing, even though it's not live yet as well. So, in the process of once you've created your Google My Business listing, there's some things to keep in mind. Once you get inside, there's some different things that you can do. One of them is certainly is be adding photos. If you have photos of your business that's at that physical location, Google likes, again, it's just confirming that this is a real place. And there's an example like, this is an older picture, but we had as a cover photo for a little bit, and this is getting just over 1,000 views. So people see these photos as they're looking through and finding you in the search results. Same thing with your videos as well. You could do a video walkthrough, that kind of a thing. I went backwards, sorry. Another thing too is actually what they call geotagging your photos. So any photo that's taken with our phones these days, unless you've shut this off, it actually by default includes this extra little bit of data that is just actually stating where this photo has been taken. And so now when you're talking about optimizing things for a locally run business, if that photo has been taken locally, and when that photo is uploaded to your listing, that data goes with it. Now, there's a little bit of controversy, or not controversy, but a little bit of difference of opinion with this, because if you were to pull that photo off after the fact and try to look for that data, it wouldn't be there. So the argument is whether Google actually takes that data into account when you've uploaded it, even though it's technically stripped if people wanted to see it after that, or actually see that data outside of that. So I'm in the opinion that, if it does influence that it's well worth having in there. So as you can see here as an example, what this is like an info of one of the photos that I took. You got your dimensions, and then it's got right here your latitude and longitude of where that photo was actually taken. So can help with those more of those localized search results. Next thing is your review link, making sure you know where this is and how to share it. So if you were on the home section within your Google My Business page, you'd be scrolling down, and on the right, you just have this share review form, and it's going to give you this shortened link and something that you want to maybe copy and paste out of here. Keep it handy, add it to your emails if you're ever finishing up with a client or a project. It's just a great way to say, thanks for joining us if you enjoyed your time or you enjoyed your product. We'd love to hear some feedback, or if you wouldn't mind leaving us a review. And so it's a great way to do that as well. Another thing too that they continually, they're always adding these new features. Actually, I'm gonna jump back here.
I'm just going to interrupt for 1 second. I've just had one say that she's having audio trouble. I know I'm hearing fine. Is Terry or Andre, are you hearing all right? Because I know Joan's having some technical problems.
Mine's okay.
Okay, so maybe
mine's good too.
Okay, so Joan, I don't know if you want to try to disconnect and come back in. I'll let you back in the room. That might help. I know that's helped other times. If not, I do. Oh, she said she's going to move to a different computer. So we'll just keep going and she'll join back in with us. Sorry.
All good, all good. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. One other thing to mention, so depending on the business industry that you're in, they'll give you kind of some different options as to, for like booking appointments or different things like that. So you want to make sure you go through here and you're working through each of the portions of this that you have access to. So you can take full advantage of that listing, kind of like what we saw earlier, how the one business had, you can book a meeting, you can go right to their website, or you can get directions. The directions will be there by default, right, because it's a physical location. But those kind of things will pop up within that listing, giving people access to make a quicker action, right, and get a hold of you, right? So another thing they've got is there's, we said, products here. So back here it'd be down in the tab called products, and simply you can create some products, depending on kind of what your offering is. You can even we've productized like some of our services, so we could actually put it in here kind of as a product. And the idea is that you can create kind of a post out of it as well, and you're just giving people more information and details about it, within this Google My Business platform. If you had, an offer or promotion related to that product specifically, that'd be a great place to have it listed. So here's a little bit of a checklist. If you want, this is being recorded, but I could always send you the slide after if you guys want to generate in, just to for people to keep in mind as they're creating their Google My Business, and just something to go through to make sure you've got all these things covered. But of course, you want to make sure it's created and claimed, that your category is correct, that all of your info is correct, that you've got your website link included if you have one. And then also, of course, that your description is including your keywords naturally. We talk about that in other facets, when it comes to SEO is understanding what people are searching for. And that way you want to include keywords within your description. Make sure it's clear what you do, and having an understanding of how people are going to be looking for you. Next is utilizing each feature that is available, right? So we talked about the booking link, or if you have products, different things like that. Also having photos uploaded, whether it be of your business or of your product, or different things like that. Review link, always having that included into emails or any other appropriate communications. So just kind of get that count going up. It's not the end all be all. A lot of people, you hear them talk about reviews being that one thing that's going to get you highest in that map pack, and that's not always the case. And there are some other factors with your Google My Business listing, kind of with some of these items that we talked about, with having photos and interacting with the reviews as well. That's also very important. Like we said, with kind of any platform, whether that be Facebook or Google, they like seeing us use it in all of its facets. So if it's actively responding to reviews and those kind of thing at the end here, that's what's always going to kind of bring you up in that map pack as well. So within your Google My Business, there's a section kind of at the bottom there, just called websites. And this is kind of, I would only ever be using this as an interim landing page, maybe while I was creating a site like we're going to talk about with Google Sites in a second. So, and really it's just kind of a accumulation of the information that you've given them within your Google My Business profile. It's going to have, a section at the top. Let's see if we got an example here. I don't have an example on this one, but you're going to have a simple header on the top. It'll just have your business details, your hours, a little bit of a feed for any of the posts that you've done on Google My Business. It'll also list your reviews and just kind of any of those kind of contact info. So it's just a very basic idea. But the thing is, you've only got, I think it's like 6 or so different themes to choose from, and it's going to be very unlikely that they're matching any brand that you may have going. So it's not going to look cohesive to your brand and your business. That's why we wouldn't really recommend using it in a long-term facet, but it would be a simple solution just to give people kind of an overall outline of your business and your Google My Business page, and maybe a little bit of a more digestible format. So So, when to use it, right? So if you don't have a website yet, you can just use this built-in web page. And you can also, they tell you can run ads to it as well. And this would be, again, if you didn't really have a separate use for it. So now let's talk about Google Sites. So Google Sites website builder, what is it? So it's a kind of a simpler builder. This has come a long way from when they first launched it. But if you need some kind of simple functionality you can design, it gives you that option. And we're going to kind of explore the platform just a little bit here as well. And why use it? Well, it's a really great free stepping stone to help support your business until you do have funds to get something more professionally developed. So you need a Google account first off, right? So if you're a Google customer, and it doesn't necessarily say customer, but if you have a Google account, you'll have access to it via, kind of like how you would access the Google Drive, and you can see it kind of falls into that same category as the Google Sheets, the Google Docs, and all those different things. If you needed that temporary basic website, it'd be a great time to use it. And even as a bit of a landing page as well, so you could be sending any ad traffic to a landing page, with maybe a specific call to action that you wanted people to take, be another place that you could be using it. So, why is it best for just landing pages and temporary sites? It is templated to a certain point. You've got kind of, we'll kind of go into the different options they have available now. But you'll be a little bit more creative with things that you want to create. With it, it's not actually SEO optimized, which is kind of what I have noted here, which is kind of ironic. You actually don't have control of some of the things that we would be recommending you optimize for SEO. Things like meta descriptions, and all a meta description is it's a little portion of code that is giving a little bit of a description of what the whole page is as a whole. And when that is optimized, it just helps out with SEO on that side. And also with the H tags are just simply what they call heading tags in code, and Google views them in a certain hierarchy, and you can't edit them the way that I'd really like to for the side of SEO kind of thing. So once you're beyond this, what do we recommend kind of moving to? Moving to something like WordPress. People often ask about things like Wix and Squarespace and Weebly and all these ones, and depending on really the goals of your business, WordPress, or custom development is going to be something that's going to give you a lot more legs to grow. If you're going to put that time and energy in to building something on these simpler platforms, down the road you are going to have to move off the platform and grow with a different one. So if you've learned something like WordPress earlier on, or get something developed with WordPress, it's also intuitive for the average user as well. If you've got a blog or anything like that, it's very easy to catch on to and with WordPress. And then if you're going over the e-commerce route, we can't recommend Shopify enough as far as if you're wanting the ability to sell something online. The platform just provides the most intuitive experience for you as the owner of the site. If you have someone else develop it, even as you go in and you want to modify your products and change things, the platform is very intuitive. And then the buyer journey for the customer is just really becoming a staple for the market. So people have a certain expectation when you've went through enough of a buying process, like even just the little things with having a cart in the top right corner, and just how the experiences is with checking out, so the more that we're doing that as people, there's that sense of familiarity, and with that familiarity also comes trust, right? So that's just encouraging people to go through that process and actually buy what you're selling them, right? So that's why we would recommend something like Shopify when you're going into the e-commerce world, to actually be selling something online. But now we're getting that's the next level stuff. So I want to talk about a couple more things here. So the purpose of that landing page, a couple different things that you can be thinking about, and we're kind of going to just stay more on the basic information side for now. But you want a landing page and a site that you're taking people to have a purpose, to have a call to action of some sort, right? So you want to be leading people through a point where you're explaining who you are, you're building some trust, and then you're asking people what you want them to do. So this can be in a couple different facets, right? So as an example, if you want to be booking consultations with someone, maybe you do have a contest or a giveaway of some sort. This is a place that you can be hosting that content and taking in sort of signups if you're promoting an event. If you had a free resource that you wanted to give people, so this could be a sense, kind of like some form of what we mentioned next with a lead capture. Lead capture simply meaning I'm going to give you something, usually in exchange for some information. Oftentimes that's an email, because email marketing still proves to be a very, very powerful tool for any business, because once you've got people's, consent to be connected with them, they've shown that level of interest in your product or your business, and you can start feeding them information that they're going to find useful, informative, entertaining, depending on kind of what your business is. And of course, that just helps nurture that relationship to the point when you are asking for the sale, or maybe you're promoting another product, you've kind of warmed them up to what you got going on. Next, same thing, could just be as simple as a newsletter, or maybe a specific offer that you wanted to promote on this landing page. And lastly, if you aren't quite even just there yet, this landing page can just serve as a place for more information about your business. And we'll talk about how you could kind of build this out with these Google sites. So design inspiration, there's another site called Lead Pages. They are another landing page business that they give you access to all of these different templates to have a look at. And this is just a great place to look for some design inspiration, right? So Lead Pages, if you're to buy into their platform, I can't remember their pricing, but if it's a little bit out of reach to get started, again, that's why we're kind of talking about the whole Google Sites thing today. But this is just a good place to get some inspiration for creating something, and you can kind of duplicate it into Google Sites as well. So here we're going to jump into googlesites.com, and I'm just going to kind of show you guys around the platform and what you can do within there for creating a site. Does anybody have any questions so far about what we've kind of covered with Google My Business? And
I just have one comment. This is Jenny. My husband and I own a lumberyard here in Bruno, and we didn't have our Google page set up, but somebody had many years ago must have put the hours in, and my husband kept saying to me, our hours aren't right. And I kept going to our Facebook page and saying, yes, they are. But people kept Googling, and they kept saying to him, your website, because lots of people think that information comes up as your website. And when I realized what it was, yeah, it was the Google My Business page, and the hours were wrong. So I figured out how to get in, and I changed it. And we have lots of people that say that that's where they get our hours, and they know if we're open or not. So it was simple once I figured out what they were talking about. So that's just my little insight into it.
I agree. There's nothing more frustrating than seeing Facebook hours and Google hours differently. And then you have to call them or figure it out. Go to their website.
Yeah. And lots of people, when they Google, what comes up is the Google stuff. So that's why getting in, and if all you do is set your hours, I added pictures of stuff in COVID when we didn't know, because we didn't have a website. My husband went in and just took pictures of the store in different sections, and I uploaded them all in, and people, we were shocked by how many people said, oh, we saw your pictures you posted, and it was what we had posted on Google. So yeah, it really helps.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's
absolutely
free.
And it's free.
Yeah.
Like we said before, like what do we always say when you're going to look something up on the internet? Well, I'll Google it, right? It's not I'll go search for it. It's all Google. Google owns it's upwards of 90 some percent of the market share of what people are actually using to search things online, right? So I know I do that all the time. I would say I go to Google, even Google Maps. I would go to Google Maps more often. I will search for a business on my phone, and I will look up the hours then just to see when they're open till.
Yep.
Almost all the time. Like not even just like a Google search, but I'll go to the actual Maps app to find that information, right? So again, you guys have also made it very clear, right? This is so important to have this information accurate for your users. So. So yeah, let's just take a quick boo over here with the Google Sites. So here I'm at just sites.google.com, and this is giving me an option to just create different things. So I'm going to pull up kind of what I had actively going, just a simple project. They'll give you these different options of what you can build. This would be, again, someone's just signed in just with a personal account right now for myself, and this is where you would see, Google Sites is within the kind of everything within, it's docs and sheets and slides and forms. And if it's not showing up on here, like if you went to Google Drive, you might not see it on there. But yeah, I remember back at the classic sites, this was a no-go. This was not great for the timing. But now what they've come up with now with this kind of a builder is pretty slick. So you could start from any of these other templates, or you can start fresh. So I'll just kind of walk you through some of the different things that you have access to in here. So
we just have one question, and it's before this. It says our office hours and our sailing hours, so this is for the Prairie Lily, are different. Is there a way to post both? We've switched between the two, but end up tripping up either way. So can you post both sets of hours?
Not that I know of, no. The only thing I would think of in that sense is what's the primary use of that listing for you? Is it to let people know your general hours, or is it to actually book, have people book? Sorry, did you say book?
She hasn't answered.
Okay.
We're switching between the two. Yeah, she said one is the office hours and the other one is when the boat actually sails, sailing hours. Can you, I don't know, can you answer that one, Joan? Not sure if she's got audio. Oh, I think I lost her now. Okay, we'll leave that. She's been having she's been typing back and forth. She's been having some issues, so she wasn't sure if she was going to be able to be on the whole time. So we lost her. So anyway, we can move on. And she's coming back.
That's all good. All good.
I don't know. Can you hear us, Joan? Because we did, DJ did have a question. We talked about your question, office hours or your sailing hours. Is one of them more prominent, more important?
Sorry, I lost my sound again, and I've relaunched in Zoom. So I'm sorry, I missed the entire answer as soon as I typed it in.
Okay.
Anyway, both are important, and in the summertime, that's where it's tough because we don't have somebody regularly in the office answering phones in the evening, but if we post our sailing hours when we're sailing, then people get upset that you don't answer the phone because you said you were open. But so they're both important, and that's where it's been difficult to sort of pick.
But can somebody book even though it's technically after hours? Like, do you know what I mean?
People can book online. Yeah. But if somebody's phoned the office and had looked up hours, right. Or they think, if you put your office hours are 9 to 4, then they think you sail in the morning because you're open. But we don't sail in the mornings, so that's where it's a game that you can never win, I think.
Well, then that's maybe something where you So the hours that people can actually get a hold of you, that would be important to have that listed in your Google as well as your phone number. And then for people to book appointments, having that link sent out to the site. And then you could be making a post, or maybe it's an announcement within, you know, your Google My Business platform, just letting people know that exact question, you know, like, hey, you know, I know it says that we're closed at 4, but we resale from, or even just not even saying, hey, we close at 4, but saying these are our sailing hours, you know, and it could be positioned as an announcement, and that'll get, I think that lasts for like, I think 24 hours, 48 hours. I can't remember how long Google keeps that up there, but it can just be something that you're letting people know, about on a regular basis.
Right. Okay, well, I'll play around with it. Having to repost an announcement every 24 hours.
Yeah.
It makes it a bit awkward too.
Yeah, I would say that's not necessarily ideal either, but it's
would putting something as a picture in the pictures, an announcement kind of in the pictures where it stays static, would that work? Could you do something there?
I suppose a person could do that, but it's sort of, you know, the way you were talking about your hours at your store. There's a place we all know because we all Google.
Right.
We know where to go. We know where to look, and that's sort of the only spot. So either you're in or you're out in that spot.
Yeah.
Some people aren't patient enough.
No, they just want, they don't look past that.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True. Well, maybe that gets integrated into your description, maybe, you know, can be like the last part is that, you know, hey, our sailing hours are from this to this, so that people have actually read the description, you know, on your profile. That'd be another way to share that information that wouldn't disappear in 24 hours. So,
okay, thank you.
Just a thought. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Outside of that, I mean, Google doesn't like, you know, we tried this as well for ours, you know, like we've got, you know, our creative studio, and then we have an academy as well where we do more kind of on the trading side. So we thought, hey, let's kind of have a, you know, different Google My Business for both of these, because then our reviews are speaking to the training, or our reviews are speaking to the creative services, but Google viewed that as a duplicate listing. So I'm sure it'd be the same thing for you guys if you wrote it as the sales center, even though it's in the same location. You know, they're not going to let you. I mean, you could try. You could always try, but
actually, we have 3 listings before I could actually get one to actually work. Going back a little while, so I can assure you they won't let you have more than one, or at least one that's active, or help you in any way. So, or at least when I initially got the stuff set up, we do at least have one active.
That's good. At least one is active. Yes. No, I agree. That's generally the feedback, is that when you want help, Google is not very helpful. Yeah, unfortunately. So, okay, well, without further ado, we got a little bit of time here. So let's explore kind of what we can do with the Google site. So right off the hop, when you do want to actually make this page live, there's a little section up here where there's these settings, and you're going to come down to this section called custom domains. And this would be where you would set up your actual domain to get this website live. Google now also sells domains straight from Google. You used to have to go to a registrar like GoDaddy or something like that, but now you can buy these straight from Google. And in my understanding as well, these sites are hosted for free. So that's the other equation. Normally you need to be paying for as well. It would be some level of hosting. You can get hosting for websites fairly cheap, but knowing that Google is actually running this on their own platforms and for free, because I haven't seen any mention of any hosting packages here. You know, you're getting a fast loading site, you know, with your own custom domain. So very cost effective just for getting yourself started. So if you've ever worked with any sort of drag and drop builder, this is a very similar premise. You know, so if I was to, you know, say I wanted to move this section around, I have these like 8 dots here. I can just hold on to this. I can click and drag it, drop it, move it around. Any content that I add, So on this side, this is where you're going to get all these different kind of things that you can embed into here as well, which is interesting. I mean, you know, the ability to, you know, drop in a doc of your own. You know, it's really depend on the purpose of this page, but you know, I guess you could think of some creative ways on how to use that. Same thing with the Google Slides, but mainly, let's say we're using kind of the main kind of ideas like a text block. Once I drop one in, it's going to show up here when it showed up in here. So this is just a text block. I've got the option to turn this into either title, a heading, a subheading, small text. Got some reasonable options for fonts. Of course, you're going to want to make this look as close as you can to a brand font, all your different weights, those kind of things. And then, of course, you're just typing in there whatever you would like to be typing in. The other side of this too is if you wanted to drop this to some different columns, you got the opportunity to click and drag this down. And then let's say I wanted to clone that element. Let's see if I can pop this up into here. So same thing, I can click and drag things around, move them how I like them. And a lot of this too is going to be, you'll want to come in here and do some playing and do some exploring, and try it out. So up here in this section, this is called our header here. So we're going to see given some different options on doing a header type. So if I wanted to do a cover, this would be like a big full page as people load the site in. Maybe just want it to be a large banner, simple banner, maybe just a title only. So if you've got it as a banner, I've got that opportunity to change an image. Google will have some things in here by default, but of course you can upload any of your own content. Simple as that, switching it out. These right here, I believe, what did they call these? With these different layouts. So this must be one of these guys here, where you've got the ability to add a photo and then some text underneath here as well. And they've just added an additional text block down here. So kind of good to when you're building your landing pages. A general kind of rule of thumb is thinking about the navigation. So if you've got someone coming to you for a promotion, or maybe you're wanting to use this to get someone to opt into something, you want to be making your statement up top. You'd be presenting kind of whatever offer you've talked about, give people the ability. So this is an example. This is just an embed from MailChimp. So if you've got a third party where you're using a lead capture form to go into that, this would be where you'd embed that. This is just a code block. Let's call this embed here. And so this is just simply you'd be given this code within MailChimp or whatever provider you're using, copy, paste it, and then it's going to show up like this. And this way, anybody who is entering this information and submitting this is going to go straight into your email marketing platform that you're using. But then beyond that, so you'd be kind of making your statement about the offer, and then you maybe want to talk about some benefits, right? So what's some benefits of this offer that you're giving them, or maybe it's just if it's generally about your product, how's it going to improve someone's life, right? And then beyond that, you'd want to add, some testimonials, and this is where that other one for Google My Business was kind of neat, because it just automatically populates your most recent Google reviews, but you can always copy that content over into here. And that's kind of what they call social proof, so then you're kind of reinforcing someone's, buying decision that others have reviewed you well. And then beyond that, again, you always want to leave at the end of a page that last call to action as well. So let's say you still wanted that person to, fill out that form. You would be creating a button that's going to give them back, bring them back to this form to fill it out. And then the footer is always kind of also that last little bit of your information, your contact information outside of that. So this is a button element. So we have that option right here as a button. This is what's coming here. You have a couple different options. You could be changing the text. So you say click here, or let's say something like that. This would be where the link would be for URL, wherever you want to send them. A couple different styling options. If you just want it to just be straight text. But all of this is dictated by kind of your theme and your main color palette here. So I guess maybe we should have kind of started on this side of things. So this is this theme they're calling level, and you've got some different options for different colors you want to use in there. That'll change the overall tone of the page. If you've got a brand color, you could be putting in specific brand colors, but that's kind of the only control. Like I can't change this button color by myself. Like this needs to be, it's all controlled by whatever defaults they have in here. So kind of like what I said, like it's very much a platform to come in here, to try and to play with. Main thing, just making sure that it's communicating, your business details well, who you are. And then the other side of this too is if you want, you can build out like a full site. This is built even, as a site. These are different internal pages that they have built in here. So, the history, you've got team, maybe you've got an FAQ page. It's a great way to share information about your business. This would be showing up in the menu here, how people would actually get to the FAQ if you didn't want to show this page within your navigation. There's these three buttons on the side here. This says show in navigation or hide from navigation. So this would be, I would use that. So maybe if I just wanted to build a landing page that was specific for an offer that I didn't want attached to this site, that would be how I would do that as well. And this is the last thing. So if you were building out an FAQ section, you could be making this section collapsible. Let's see what we got here. So there's an option on there. So if you had a question about something specific, right, you could be building it out like that as well. So how you see an FAQ page with more collapsed content. That's how we can do that as well, by bringing in one of these things to the collapsible group. And it would create a little bit of a cleaner layout instead of if you had a longer answer to a question. That way you're not getting a lot of content and people having to scroll a lot down through the page, right? So, and then once you've also, had a look through that, you've got this option to preview the page as well. So just give you an idea of what this is actually going to look like on desktop, tablet, mobile. You can scroll through it and interact with it just like any user would. I mean, I know this is just kind of a preview page and with what they've built, but this is very quick, and that's one of the best signs that you're going to want with your pages and your landing pages is that they're loading quick. It creates a great user experience, and yeah. Any questions about this Google Sites platform?
Does anyone have any questions? Because we are just coming up on our hour. If not, we did record today. So we will be sending that out to everybody. And then I'm sure if anyone has any questions, DJ, or any from the one from Zap would be happy to answer our questions. Just a little bit, next week is Small Business Week. So IBDS and Sage Hill, we have a couple of workshops going on next week in honor of Small Business Week. On the 19th, Tuesday, we have a conflict resolution workshop put on by JMJ Coaching out of Saskatoon. And then on Thursday, we have a business valuation workshop, 101. If you're thinking of buying or selling, that was one. So those are a couple of things we have coming up next week. If no one has any questions, I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us today. And I'd like to thank DJ for the great tour of Google.
There you go. Yeah, my pleasure. Absolutely. Yeah, and lastly, I'd definitely love to connect with anybody who, if you guys have any questions, simply my name is just dj@zapcreative.ca. That's my personal cell number there too. And of course, you can always reach me through our site as well. So yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. And hope you guys got some tidbits out of it. That's great.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody.